Oh, hello. I'm Time Travel Reviews, and I think I need a new name. Anyway, yesterday, after watching Sin City, I decided to watch something a little different. And by that, I mean a lot different. The Bambi movies. So yeah, I watched Sin City and Bambi together in one day. Quite a combination.
I'd seen neither of these films before, because I didn't have a childhood, so I was watching both fresh and one after another, though of course I didn't know the general story of Bambi, his mother gets shot, yada yada yada. But this meant that I really didn't have any bias against or towards each film. I'm not going to really talk too heavily about the original in this review, hence the title of the video. All I can say is that by today's standards, the film is mediocre, and I can understand that for its time it was a great film, and let me just say that the visuals are stunning, even by today's standards. Being that it was made in 1942, it really doesn't feel like a 70-year-old film, but it definitely feels outdated. So yeah, I recommend you to see it, even if it's just for you to say that you've seen it, but don't expect anything eye-widening. Bambi 2 was released, however, only 5 years ago in 2006. That is a gap of 64 years between sequels, the world record for the longest gap actually. The film was directed by Brian Pimentel. The film was a straight-to-DVD release. The film is actually what they call a mid-call, as it takes place straight after when Bambi's mother gets shot in the original film. I actually thought that this was a really good idea, as we really didn't get to see how Bambi's mother's death affected him in the original, and the story afterwards cuts to a spring later when Bambi's older and having returned from somewhere that we don't know about. There was quite a bit of time cut out from the original here, and I was interested to see how they showed the time between when Bambi's mother got shot to the spring scene. This actually would have made quite a good story in my opinion, as one thing I didn't particularly like in the original Bambi was the lack of a central complication. Unfortunately, while this seems like a good premise, they don't really use it. I mean, they do a bit. A bit of the plot of Bambi 2 is Bambi trying to deal with his mother's death, but they don't really explore on it very well. In the film, Bambi is staying with the Great Prince, voiced by Patrick Stewart, who in my opinion is a perfect voice for him. And basically the Great Prince repeatedly tells Bambi that he has to move on from his mother's death and forget about his mother. However, Bambi keeps seeing dreams with his mother in them.
But I feel so alone.
I'm always with you, even when you can't see me.
I'll be with you, even if you can't see me.
Whatever, Land Before Time ripped off Bambi, so I guess it's just returning the favour. Anyway, so you think that possibly the story may be about the Great Prince coming to realise that we shouldn't have to forget our dead relatives, and that it's okay to look back on the past. It's kind of addressed at the end, but not really, and there isn't really enough reason why the Great Prince would want to change his mind anyway. Besides, even if he did, he still goes back to being an arse in the original.
Get up! Get up!
The film also has the theme of bravery, but again, it isn't explored enough to really give kids any morals. The Great Prince wants Bambi to be brave, Bambi does some risky stuff to try and be brave, and in the end his bravery ends up saving everyone. So the moral is that you should risk your life even when you're in great danger, because that's a brave thing to do. It's a shame because the film has the opportunity to teach these morals to kids, and sets them up well, but instead gets lost along the way, and is the main reason the plot does not work. I could say, however, many positives about Bambi 2. Firstly, the humour is good. I found myself laughing at a few times in the film, and most of the time I had a smile on my face while watching. The film affectionately parodies the original film, while having some good original humour as well. The film contains pretty much every character you saw in the original, and they are all very likeable, and they have the same personality as the original. The film also introduces Rono, who is the stereotypical bully. I think he's supposed to be the male deer that you see in the original fighting Bambi. The film, however, makes him also very likeable. Bambi 2 is also very strong in the visuals department, it is very colourful and vibrant. The music I can say is nice and there is nothing to complain about. Bambi 2 definitely shows a lot of respect to the original and plays it safe. For the most part, tries not to do anything that would make fans of the original cry and call discontinuity. I can't speak for too many people, but I personally think that it's a decent sequel to an outdated film. It could have been a lot better, but it could have been a lot worse. The film, just like the original, struggles to find a single complication, and just like the original, has a few pointless scenes, but after all, it's a sequel, so you would expect it to be similar like that. I'm also quite disappointed that the film doesn't answer the question about where Bambi was when he grew up, which I thought would have been an obvious question to answer with this film and its premise. I prefer Bambi 2 to the original, though this is because Bambi 2 made me laugh, and it probably wouldn't have done that without the original, so the films go hand in hand, much like The Lion King 1.5 and The Lion King 1. Bambi 2 is better than most animated sequels, though still sits somewhere between average and decent. It's a fun film, kids will like it, you might too, and it's pretty much harmless. To put it bluntly, it's impossible to hate it. If you're a fan of the original, check it out, and if your kid wants to see it, let them. Bambi 2 gets a 6 out of 10 from me.